I gotta say, I'm absolutely loving Lost Ark at the moment. I've had more fun with this MMO than with any I've played recently or in the last 7 or 8, 10 years. Just today, I did lots of things. I did some cool dungeons. I added a bunch of players to my guild. Fought several world bosses, helped a king retake his throne, which is probably the coolest thing I've done in this game, became his knight and lord, and was given a stronghold, which is essentially a massive player house or island, and basically a game in itself, just managing the crazy thing. I mean, it's unreal the stuff you can do in these strongholds. The siege itself, to take back the kingdom, was one of the most glorious moments that I've been a part of in an MMO in recent years. It truly felt amazing to be there, and made me glad that I chose a paladin as my class. From climbing the castle walls and to fighting the massive army, and then going in to the throne room, fighting the massive demon boss at the end of the siege, just felt incredible. And the entire siege was around 25 minutes, and some of the best gameplay that the MMO genre has to offer, in my opinion. Very, very fun experience to kind of break up right in the middle of the leveling through the game, right in the middle of going to level 50. Just a very nice experience in the game. I'm going to break this video down into several chunks so that it's easier to digest, but before we get started, I would like to ask you to please subscribe to my channel if you're new here, as I'm working hard to get to 5,000 subscribers, and I got plenty more Lost Ark and MMO content to come. Thank you very much for that. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is the direction of the game. Given that the game has been out for a few years now in Korea, there's an incredible amount of content that we will be getting in the Western version in the coming months. We only got a fraction of the game's content at launch, and the dev team at Smilegate seem to have a pretty good plan of what they want to do for the game. I mean, we only got, 15 classes at launch and a couple of raids, and there's like 30 or something odd classes in the actual version of the Korean version of the game. So we got a lot of stuff coming. But we got plenty of good content at launch, a lot of stuff to look forward to. And what this means with their plan is that they're going to have a pretty solid stream of content to look forward to. It shouldn't be like a New World situation where the content just dries up in a month. I mean, I know some people really enjoy that game, but that is the truth. The content kind of dried out. Plus, the developers actually play the game. The game director notoriously has multiple maxed out characters. Now, that's enough talk about where the game is headed. Let's talk about the here and now. Currently, we have a massive amount of things to do in the game between life skills, strongholds, PvP, both in the open world and instanced, guild wars, regular dungeons, card collections, raids of various tiers and difficulties, chaos dungeons, ship sailing, island exploration, and all manner of other content. The game is huge. Let's not forget the seemingly endless amount of things to collect and secrets to find within the game. I mean, golly, if you've ever seen someone running around hunting the Makoko seeds, I mean, that you can just run around and search for those things for hours on end. I mean, it's truly unreal the things you can do in this game, the collectibles and different things like that. Also, there's many dozens of systems that the game has to offer, and literally dozens of ways to lose yourself in-game every day for hours on end. And as it stands, it would be easy to sink a few thousand hours into the game. There's so much stuff to do that you could easily sink a few thousand hours in the game without really trying. Every content type that I have tried so far has been very fun and very solid. I've not really found anything that just felt like it was half-baked or underdone. Every system I get into, whether it's the card deck system or the stronghold system, anything like that, just really feels well done, like they've already kind of polished and gone their extra mile on those systems to really flesh everything out. The game feels really polished and really well done. Nothing feels half-baked. Nothing feels like I'm waiting on another system to come in to kind of counteract this system. If you've ever played World of Warcraft recently, you'll note that Blizzard seems to like introducing systems and then putting systems on top of systems that counteract or neglect old systems. And you play with some systems for like 6 months, and then the new system is better, and all the time you spend is wasted. It doesn't feel that way in Lost Ark, at least not yet, so we'll have to see how that kind of ages. Hopefully, it ages very well. But every type of content in the game I've tried has been absolutely fantastic. I've been having a blast just leveling through the game. I haven't even gotten to the in-game raids or any of the other, end-game systems, but I have really been enjoying myself, and I did not expect to lose myself into the questing of the game. I thought it would just be kind of boring, but overall, the leveling experience hasn't been very boring, and I've been going out of my way to track down every single dungeon, doing it twice, but once on normal, once on hard for the completion in the book, and doing all the world bosses, every world boss that I hear about, because when you go into a new area chat's like, hey, this world boss is up here, and I go run and kill the world boss. I never done that in MMO, but I've been doing that, every time I hear about a world boss, I got to run and kill it because I want to make sure I get everything. The game as it sits just has a huge amount of content, and it's only going to continue to grow. The next thing I want to address is the community. With a launch like what we've had, the community for the game is massive at the moment. It broke 1.3 million concurrent users on Steam alone, which I believe is the second highest peak ever on Steam. Only game to ever beat that was PUBG back in its prime. And let's be honest, we were all playing PUBG back then. I know I was. But this is an amazing feat for any game, especially a game like Lost Ark, because it's an isometric MMO, and both of those things alone already segregate a massive crowd of people from wanting to play the game. So the fact that it's got 1.3 million concurrent users on Steam the first couple days, and I think today it might have been around 1 million, that's just insane. The game has also been incredibly popular on Twitch, with celebrities like Asmongold, Twitch celebrities I should say, leading the charge. He broke over 400,000 viewers for the game on launch day, with many of those viewers watching him wait to get into the game before he even ever started playing the game on launch day. And interest in an MMO hasn't been this high in years, if ever. The only time Asmongold ever pulled numbers like this was during the launch of Classic WoW, and I believe that was 2019. That's been quite a while. This insane popularity, however, has caused issues, particularly in the EU region, as people have experienced queues that were literally impossible to get through, with every server having 10,000 plus people waiting to get in. Yeah, you heard me right. They had, 19-ish servers and 10,000 people? 10 to 13,000 was average, so you could say there was 200,000 to 300,000 people waiting in a queue at any given time on the EU region just to get into the game to play it at all. That is insanity. This has caused many thousands of people to not even be able to play the game yet, despite it being out for nearly a week at this point. And this issue has been acknowledged and is being worked on, though the work around is only adding another EU region. So what that's going to do is separate the current users, separate from the current region, and so there means no character transfers between the two regions and no playing with friends across the two EU regions. It'll be like playing on NA East or NA West. So that's really not the best solution in my opinion, but I don't really know what else they can do at this point. They kind of said that the game is kind of limited on what they can do, and this is kind of their best option. So we just kind of have to trust in what they're doing because, what else can we do? We can't host our own servers. So there's no ETA for when this is going to happen. So it could be a month, it could be 2 weeks, it could be 3 months. You never know. So do take note of that. If you're from anywhere in the EU region, you're probably going to have a little bit of trouble trying to get into the game. And all of your European content creators have made note of this. A lot of people on Reddit have made note of this. It's causing review bombs for the game. It's an insane thing going on right now with the amount of people trying to get into this game. My game so far, however, has been very stable. I've been playing on NA East, and I'm on the server Galatur, and I've got 0 queues and 0 server issues so far, but your mileage, of course, may vary. If you do get into the game and you happen to be on Galatur, consider joining my guild, Last Exodus. Look the guild or me up in game for more info on our great community. Just had to throw that one in there. Sorry about that. Lastly, I want to touch on the general feel of the game. It's an isometric click-to-move style MMO, and I know that that's not for everyone. I know isometric games aren't for everyone, but I encourage you to give it a try before writing it off, as there is an incredible MMO under all this isometric goodness here. The combat is very visually appealing, and it feels very satisfying, though it takes a little bit of time to get used to. I recommend trying each of the classes before nailing it down to one, as I thought, personally, that I was going to go with a Berserker first. Didn't really like it. I played basically every male class and came down to finally sticking with a Paladin for my main. And I have absolutely been loving the game. Playing as a Paladin makes me so glad. I'm so glad I chose a Paladin, and the gameplay of the Paladin just feels fantastic. But just find the class that you want. Find what's interesting to you. I do have a class guide on my YouTube channel. If you're interested in looking up that, I sure would appreciate it. But find the class that is most interesting to you. That's kind of my advice there. The gameplay feels great, and runs incredibly smooth overall. I've only had a couple of minor graphical issues that I'll try to throw up on screen if I have the clips, or a couple of frame rate issues, and I'm running the game on max settings on a 3050 Ti with a gaming laptop. I got a Ryzen 7 and a 3050 Ti, so that should give you a little bit of an idea of how well optimized the game. 99% of the time, my frame rate is rock solid, and I have 0 issues, even in massive battles. During that Castle Siege I was talking about earlier, there was a lot of people on screen. A lot of NPCs on screen, mobs on screen. I had 0 issues. So If you're going to be doing this game, you're going to be playing this game, just note that that's kind of the graphical, how it feels, how it runs. And I've also heard that the game can run fine on dedicated graphics, so that is a huge plus. You just have to dial the settings down a little bit. But overall and in conclusion, I absolutely love Lost Ark at the moment. I'll be playing it as my main MMO moving forward, at least for the coming year or so. The game has really hooked me in a way that no MMO has done in recent years. You know, I played Final Fantasy XIV during the big wave. I had a lot of fun, but it just didn't quite sink its claws really deep into me. I played WoW more recently. I played WoW in Shadowlands, played WoW in Battle for Azeroth, and they just didn't really have that something I'm looking for. I'm really feeling like Lost Ark has that something I'm looking for. You know, I played a lot of Albion Online at release, and it really hooked me, and Lost Ark's giving me more of a feel of that, except for there's so much more content to do. Lost Ark is just a massive game, and there's always something to do and always a new thing to learn, and that's really kept me engaged. The leveling process has never really felt boring or tedious so far, like it does in other games, and I've had a fantastic time with the game so far. I'm looking forward to see what the game holds in the future. Hopefully I'll be seeing you there. Until next time, see you guys in Arcasia. Thanks for watching the video. Goodbye.